Howdy, it's Sunday and time for a new episode of Record Collecting with a Quill. Theme for today, drinking songs. Maybe not your typical Sunday theme or what do I know, but and I don't know why I haven't thought about this subject before. If there's one thing the history of music is filled with, it's songs about drinking and partying and having a good time. So I've chosen a couple of different songs in my collection. But before we start, you know the drill. Make sure you subscribe and hit that little notice bell as well and share with your friends. Well, as I said, there's tons of songs in the history of music relating to drinking and having a good time. And I've chosen a couple of different ones in a couple of different genres as well, trying to sort of mix it up. It would be too easy just to go for rock songs and relating to partying. And to some extent, these songs all do, but as I said, from a couple of different perspectives and a couple of different performances as well. But we're starting out with a classic, Thin Lizzy, and this is the album Vagabonds of the Western World, and the track I've chosen is Whiskey in the Jar. And that track is originally, or wasn't on this album, but this is a German, I believe it's in a reissue, or maybe it was available on the album in a couple of different countries. What do I know? I'm no expert on Thin Lizzy, but I know the song was released as a standalone single at first, and the band wasn't pleased with it at first because they thought the song didn't really represent them. But once it became a hit, I'm pretty sure they changed their mind, and Metallica was really successful with a cover version a bunch of years ago as well, but I prefer this one. It's an I'm pretty sure most of you know, it's an Irish folk song from the beginning, but and the Thin Lizzy version, as I said, I think it's a really good one. So first pick, Whiskey in the Jar by Thin Lizzy. Next one, this is a guy I think I haven't mentioned before, Tim Hardin, and this is an album called Hang On to a Dream, the complete Verve recordings. Tim was an American singer-songwriter, and I guess he's most famous for writing the track If I Were a Carpenter, sort of a troubled mind, and he recorded a bunch of albums in the late 60s that are really, really good. And I've chosen a track here called Whiskey Whiskey from his fourth album called Tim Hardin 4. It was recorded in 1964 together with John Sebastian from Loving Spoonful, but it wasn't released until 1969. And what I really love about Tim is his vulnerability. He sounds so vulnerable singing these really sad songs, and as I said, I'm a really big fan of his work. And sad story, he died in 1980 from a heroin overdose. And not the first in the history of music, and probably not the last one either, but and it's a sad way to go, but there's some great music to be heard. Check him out if you haven't heard him already. Tim Hardin, Whiskey Whiskey. Next one is a cover version. I think the original is quite famous and really good as well, and if you've been following this series, you know I'm a big fan of ZZ Top, but I actually chosen this one, Motörhead, and their version of the ZZ Top classic Beer Drinkers and Hell Races. And as I said, I'm really fond of the ZZ Top version as well, but I think somehow the song suits Motörhead better. They sort of represent the title Beer Drinkers and Hell Races better, even though I wouldn't want to mess with the ZZ Top guys either, but they're certainly from Texas, and you don't mess with Texas, as they say. But I really like this version. It's a lot rowdier, and I think this EP has such a cool cover as well. This is a t-shirt I want to have, or want to own someday. It was released on Big Beat, this one, as an EP, as I said. But third pick, Beer Drinkers and Hell Races by Motörhead, or originally recorded by ZZ Top. And my next pick, if you're not from Sweden, you're definitely not familiar with this name, but if you live in Sweden, you may have heard of him, but you have to be really into blues music because he's sort of underground. But this is an album called Sven Zetterberg, and Chicago Express, and the album is called Watch Your Step. And Sven was, and I say was because he died a few years ago, was the best blues musician in Sweden. Great harmonica player, singer, and guitar player as well. And he made, I think, 3 albums with Chicago Express and a bunch of albums in his own name as well. And they were sort of the band who introduced me to blues. They play live here quite a lot, and I saw them a bunch of times when I was really young. So, and the track I've chosen is the last one. It's a track called Whiskey Heaven. It's a cover version of the song Fats Domino made famous. And as I said, he has such a great voice. Sven Zetterberg had a great voice. So they are actually well worth seeking out. Sven Zetterberg and Chicago Express, Whiskey Heaven. Next one, you can't really have an episode about drinking songs without having a song by AC/DC. And I've chosen the song Have a Drink on Me from Back in Black. You could chosen, there's tons of songs about drinking and have a good time by AC/DC, but I've chosen this one. What can you say about the Back in Black album? It's one of the best-selling albums of all time, and it is a great album as well. So my, what is it, fifth pick, Have a Drink on Me, AC/DC. Next one, sort of in the same vein as well, the album that made rock and roll dangerous again, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. And what we have here is the original and later band cover, referred to as the Rape cover, I believe. Not a really nice title, is it? And the song I've chosen is Night Train. And Night Train is the name of a really cheap type of wine these guys were drinking before they were the millionaires they are now, I'm pretty sure. But as I said, such a great album. As I said, it made rock and roll dangerous again, and I've always been really fond of that track, Night Train. Some nice cowbell. We need more cowbell, don't we? And now for a real cowbell, Snoop Dogg. Have you gone mad, you all say? Well, yeah, to some extent. This is an album I didn't even buy it myself. I got it from our previous record label. I think they distributed this album, and I was sent some free stuff. But I actually enjoy this one. I listen to it every once in a while, mainly with my daughter, who's into this type of music a lot more than I am. But and I'm no big fan of hip-hop. I like some of the earlier stuff, but is it one artist I like, it's Snoop Dogg. He's really cool and great rhythms or grooves, I can tolerate his type of rapping as well. And the track I've chosen is the classic Gin and Juice, a great drink, by the way. It's a typical, I believe, hip-hop drink, but I tried it a couple of times and it's quite nice actually. So why don't you try it yourself? Maybe you end up buying a Snoop Dogg album, or maybe not. But it's nice to throw in a little a curveball every once in a while. Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice. And my last pick, well, after all this drinking, and the day after, you're feeling a little bit vulnerable, well, you have to sort of end things in a good way. So I'm ending with this one, Humble Pie, the album Eat It. And as I said, after all the drinking, what do you need? Well, you need a little bit of black coffee, don't you? You always, or you tend to feel a little bit tired the day afterwards. So black coffee is the last choice, so you get back to life again. This is a great album, one of my all-time favorites, and this is a really nice pressing as well. As you can see, it's a little bit difficult to show you, but it has a really nice sort of trippy booklet. So typical of this time period. And what a great album. A live side, you have a rock side, you have a sort of rhythm and blues side, and an acoustic side. So if you don't have this one, buy it. And it's Humble Pie is sort of, you have to have them here as well in drinking songs theme as well. They were quite heavy on the partying, these guys. Well, those were my picks. Now I want to know, what are your favorite drinking songs? Let me know in the comment section, and I will post a couple of or these songs in the Spotify playlist as well. Also, make sure you follow us on social media. It's the QUILL Sweden, for all the latest news. Well, that's it for now. See you all again next week with another theme. Cheers.